All right, guys, today we're going to talk about the power of saying no. And the more work I do, the more I realize how impactful the word no is. Okay. I'm a firm believer where I'm at right now that saying no is almost more important than saying yes. Like what you say no to is so reaffirming to the universe versus what you say yes to. Okay. And here's why I say that. Now, you might not relate to this. I can only speak from my standpoint, but I and I think a lot of my clients, honestly, now that I think about it, and probably people listening to this, I've always dealt with people pleasing. And I don't even like that term, but I know it's what everyone understands. But just this element of having to prove my worth. Like, I've been doing that since I was a kid. That's what I learned to do. And I think that's what most of us learn to do is, I grew up in a household where, you wanted to be a really good kid and you wanted to do really well in school. And I was a competitive dancer and I wanted to compete and win. And, there's a lot of praise for that. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it does reinforce a behavior of having to always prove your worth. And so I carried that into the workforce and I sacrificed my needs constantly to prove my worth. Even though I was doing a phenomenal job, and even though no one around me was even asking me to do that, that's the interesting thing about people pleasing and feeling like we have to prove ourselves is like half the time people aren't even not half the majority of the time people aren't even asking us to do that. Like if I think about days where I like would come in on my day off, like rarely did my boss ever actually ask me to do that. I took it upon myself to be highly accountable and highly responsible. And I know they valued that aspect in me. Like they valued the fact that I'd be willing to do that. But really, I was the one who volunteered that. And so when you're someone who deals with that survival strategy, which is really just comes to the fact of you want to feel like you belong and you want to again feel worthy, is we're constantly sacrificing our needs and kind of usually saying yes to too much. Like especially my executives who are high performers, like how many times have you sat on a meeting and you've agreed to take on something purely for the fact that no one else was stepping up, so you just said yeah, fine, I'll do it because you can quote unquote handle it, even though it's not what you want to do. It might be even outside the realm of like what makes you great and your role, but you're like, okay, I'll just do it anyways because no one else spoke up, right? Or there might be times where you've kind of always been the go-to person to like maybe fix a certain situation, or you do it like quote unquote no one else can, so then everyone keeps coming to you and you just keep saying yes because you're like, oh well, if I don't do it, it won't get done properly or it won't get done the way they like it, so I'll just keep doing it again, even if it's outside your spectrum of what your responsibilities are or your role. And then the thing is, once you do that once, you do it over and over and over again, and it compounds. And before you know it, everyone just expects you of it because you've created this conditioned response to everybody. Everyone knows that Mintu's just going to say yes, so let's just go ask her. And Mintu does it the best, so let's just go ask her, right? And then it feeds that loop. And then eventually you get to a point where you're like, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Why am I doing this? And you probably have some resentment and some guilt building up there, right? Now, the reason I bring this up is I used to be way more conditioned to say yes than say no. Saying no is actually pretty difficult for me in some areas, okay? Mainly when it comes to work. And honestly, now that I think about it, in my relationships as well too. But I was saying yes all the time. And not yes out of like it's subtle. It's subconscious. You're not saying yes and like, yes, please do it so you like me. That's not how you're thinking about it. You're saying yes because it's like, oh yeah, okay, I can do it. Because again, the story of you think it's reinforcing your worth. You're not saying it to be, I don't like that word, but you're not saying it to like be like a little pathetic little puppy dog. Oh, I don't like saying the word pathetic. I feel like it's so judgy, but you know what I mean. Like it's not coming from that space. It's coming from the space of just like you've tricked yourself into believing that if you say yes because you're doing yourself a favor, you're doing everyone else a favor, or it's like a badge of honor saying yes all the time. I'm telling you right now, it's not. And so I firmly believe that what you say no to is honestly more powerful than what you say yes to, Because when you've been used to saying yes for so long, the minute you start to say no, the universe goes, what? It's like a pattern interrupt. It goes, ooh, what'd she just say? Right? Like, what are we doing? And even when you say yes, guess what's going to happen? Or say no, the universe is going, did she just say no? She didn't say no. Let me try again. Boom. There's another trigger at you. She said no again? No way. She's glitching. She's glitching out. Let me throw another task at her. Let me throw another test at her. Let me ask her to do one more thing. And that's how the universe tests us, right? And so it's like, is she actually saying no? Let me throw it at her. Let me poke her again. Let me poke her again. Let me see if I can break her. Because this is not what she usually does. And it tests us and tests us and tests us. Okay. And here's the thing about it. When it comes to saying no, that's usually what we refer to as a boundary, right? And so let's say the boundary is, I'm not going to answer emails past 6 p.m. Okay. And so the boundary, again, not going to answer emails past 6 p.m. The way we look at it is we expect others not to violate our boundary, when boundaries are about what we will do, not what others will do. Okay. So 6 o'clock rolls around and my business partner, Jessica, she sends me an email. And I go, oh my God, why did Jessica email me? I told her I'm not answering emails past 6. Like, she just violated a boundary. No, she didn't, because the boundary is around what you will do. So if I respond to that email, I have violated the boundary. If I ignore it or I leave it, like I said I was going to, and I said I'm not going to answer emails past 6 p.m., I have now honored my boundary. It has nothing to do with Jessica's behavior and everything to do with how I handle it. But what most of us are doing is, when we put a boundary in place, we expect the other person to abide by it or uphold it, when it really has nothing to do with them and everything to do with us. And so then what happens again is we set the boundary and they test it, because that's what they're sent to do from the universe. And it's up to us whether we honor it or not. It has nothing to do with them. But then we sit and we get mad and say they don't honor our boundaries. It's the same thing in a relationship. If you have a boundary around infidelity and you say, if they cheat on me, I'm going to leave, and then they cheat on you and you go, they violated a boundary. Okay, cool. So they did it. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to stay or are you going to leave? If you stay, you violated your boundary. If you leave, you honored it, right? So think about what a difference that is to the universe and how it's going to send things your way based on how you respond. Like, again, if you choose to answer that email, the universe is going to go, okay, well, she wasn't serious. Then we're just going to keep her on this same path that she's been in. Having no boundary around work hours, having no boundary around coworkers, constantly feeling like she needs to prove herself, never saying no, perfectionism, control freak, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're just going to keep doing that because that's what she's been doing. That's clearly what she's in alignment with. That's how she's showing up. Versus if you say no and you say no again and you say no again, and now we're a week, 2 weeks, a month into not answering emails past 6 p.m., how do you think the universe is going to respond to that? Right? They're not going to keep trying. Eventually, they're going to stop. And then the universe is going to go, oh, so now past 6 p.m., what does she want to do? Now it opens up space. Now it opens up a blank space. Now it opens up the opportunity to create a new world past 6 p.m. Maybe that's self-care. Maybe that's more time with hubby and kids. Maybe that's taking up an art class. Maybe that's getting to sleep earlier. Whatever that could be. Because you said no, it opens up space in your life to create something new. Okay. Now, here's the thing is, saying no has to come from a place of like alignment. Okay. And the reason I say that is, like, I can think about 2 clients in particular, and I know they wouldn't judge me if I said their names, but they're 2 incredible women, 2 completely different fields. They don't even know each other, but their 2 clients are very similar though. And they have done some incredible things in their career. Like, I respect them both a lot. And they are firecrackers, and they're powerful, and they're beautiful, and they're kind and loving, and they're just incredible women. And both of them, when they started working with me, were like, I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. And I'll just tell people straight up. And I don't have any patience for them. And I never bite my tongue. And like, they're just fierce. I was like, all right, okay. But they're both crazy burnt out. Okay. And so it was this very much like, I don't give a fuck attitude, but with a sense of like, I don't give a fuck because I don't have the capacity to give a fuck. Okay. And so that's one way to quote unquote say no. However, in my experience, when you say no from that place, that's usually when you're least likely to uphold your boundaries because it's not coming from a grounded, aligned place. Whereas now, both of them, one's already done working with me. The other one, she's rounding the corner here. And they both still have that I don't give a fuck attitude. But now it's coming from a place of like, well, I just don't give a fuck because I know who I truly am and I know what I stand for. So when I say I'm not going to answer emails past 6 p.m., it's not, I don't give a fuck from like, I don't care how busy you are. I don't want to answer it. It's not coming from that space. It's coming from like, well, sorry, I'm not answering emails past 6 p.m. And I know that regardless of how you take that, it doesn't affect my worth and it doesn't affect how good I am at my job and it doesn't affect how good of a person I am. I just don't want to answer emails past 6 p.m. And they honor the boundary from a very grounded and aligned space. And you can feel the difference in that, right? Like it's one thing to set boundaries from a place of insecurity and doing it almost as like a defense mechanism. I don't quite know how to support and take care of myself fully. So therefore I put this into place so that you can figure it out for me, versus from a place of just being like, I know my worth and I know what's best for my well-being and I'm not going to sacrifice that. Very different energies, very different space. But if you're listening to this right now and you're going, well, I don't give a fuck either. I would get you to lean into that and ask, which space is that coming from? Is that coming from like, I don't have the capacity to give a fuck, so it's like me against the world? Or is it coming from the place of like, no, this is just where I'm at. And regardless of what happens on the other side of this, regardless of how you respond to me and my boundary, regardless of how you respond to my no, I'm still going to honor it because it's what's right for me. Right? It's very, very different energy. And that's why I say what you say no to is more important most times than what you say yes to, because it's filtering out the process for the universe to know what it needs to bring to your doorstep. I listened to a podcast a little while ago, and forgive me, I can't remember which one it was or who, but they said that the one thing multimillionaires and billionaires are really good at is filtering through the crap. So they're really good at eliminating the distractions from whatever their said goal is. So whatever the goal is, they know right away if something's a yes or a no. Nope, 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 yes, nope, 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 yes, yes, nope. They're really good at that process because they're so dialed in to what the task at hand is, and they eliminate anything in the way that's not in alignment with that. And they don't think twice about it. They don't take days to make a decision about it. Their decision-making process when it comes to that is quick and efficient and precise and keeps them aligned to whatever said goal is. And again, so when we're thinking about making the best decisions for us, or if we're trying to create a really, incredible life or work towards a really big goal that we haven't before, that's where that process of really getting deliberate and efficient with what we're saying yes to and no to is important. I for some of you that may or may not know, I'm a Reiki master practitioner. So I used to have a Reiki healing practice. I still practice Reiki on myself. I read Akashic records. I have another really unique energy healing modality called the white sapphire light encoding that to my knowledge, I'm the only one who facilitates. And before I transitioned into being an executive coach, I had a healing practice. And recently I've had some clients come back around and ask for a session or a healing. And I've turned some clients away And the reason being is that it's not in alignment right now with what I'm doing for work. I still believe in energy healing. I still believe in having supportive healing containers for people. I'm still doing that work, but I'm doing it in a different way. Could I have still taken on a few clients here and there for some one-off sessions? Yeah. But I chose to say no because right now that's not in alignment with the goal I have in front of me. And so I said no. And to me, what that does is it shows the universe, like, okay, so then I know what to send her. I know what kind of clients she wants to be working with. I know the people that need her. I know the people she wants to work with. I know the opportunities I need to provide her because I can see what she's saying no to, and the more we can do that, the more we can get fine-tuned on that, and the more we can say no. I know, guys, saying no sometimes can be really scary, but that's what lines you up. I even think about when I left my last career. I know you guys have heard me talk about this a little bit, but like outside looking in, I had it made. Okay? Like I got to work with a beautiful product, an incredible product. Like working with that brand is something people like dream of, honestly. Like it was like it's a dream brand to work for. I worked in a beautiful store. I had a beautiful office. I was in a management position. I had earned a lot of respect and I had a really good reputation. So when it came to just like, I don't want to say having my way, but like they really worked with me. They really accommodated me. Um, I was compensated very well. Um, yeah, I had it really made from the outside looking in. And so when I decided to leave, I didn't know what I was going to do next. I didn't know I was going to start higher alignment up. Um, but what I did know was what I didn't want. And I no longer wanted to work there. And not because of the things I just said. There's a lot of perks and beauty there. And it was the people. It was really the people why I stayed there for so long. Um, but the line of work, that industry just wasn't in alignment with me anymore. It didn't sit with my heart. I was really there for a paycheck. And again, I liked the people I worked with, but it I was there for a paycheck, just point blank period. And to me, if money is your only motivator in life, that's not a happy life. That's not a fulfilling life, right? So I didn't know what was next. I didn't know what I was saying yes to, but I knew what I was saying no to. And so I said no, and I took that leap of faith. And it was the best decision I could have ever made for myself. Truly, truly. And I think that's what catapulted me into being able to find this months down the road and being able to jump in without a question. And just like the moment this idea came into my head, I was like, yeah, all in, jumping all in, no question, no hesitation. Let's just do it and let's figure it out. Had no idea what I was doing, had no idea how to build the business, but I just knew this was what it was. And so I just started taking steps towards it. So again, I didn't know what I was saying yes to at the time, but I knew what I was saying no to. And that was enough for the universe to set me up. Okay. One more story I'll tell you. And one day I'm going to interview her and hopefully she'll tell the story too. But I have a client right now who got a payout at the end of last year, in the fall of last year. And she is very highly in demand and highly regarded in her field. Like all over Canada, people know the work she's done and she's done some incredible things. And so part of our time in working together was A, to heal her burnout, but B, to also make a very empowered decision on what was going to be next for her. And we started working together in October. And she was like, by January, I want to be back to work. I want to have it figured out. And I immediately, when she had said that, I'm like, oh, that's a little quick. Like, especially with the position she was in, she didn't have to rush back to work. She was fortunately in that position. She's like, I want to be back to work by January. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm here to support. It's her journey. I'm just here to help her. And I said, okay. So we just started working on healing her burnout. And what was beautiful was the more she did this work and the more she poured into herself and really worked on breaking those patterns and healing her burnout, the more she realized she wanted to take more time. And she didn't want to rush. And she really wanted to make sure that whatever she jumped into next was out of empowerment and alignment and inspiration and not out of just this fear of she needs to be working because everyone else is. Okay. And what's interesting is, so now we're into February, so October, November, December, January, so almost 5 months into this. And she has gotten so many job offers these last 5 months. Like, it is crazy. I've never actually seen this happen before, and she's not looking for them. People just hear that she's not working, and because she is so highly respected and regarded, everyone's like trying to figure out how they can bring her into her company. She's a rock star, truly, okay? And, a few months ago, she had said, I think I'm going to take this. And then she's like, I said no. And then she's like, I think I'm going to take this. And then she said no. And then every time she said no, she's realizing that the offers keep getting better and better and better. And now she's at this point where she has said no so many times that, like, the offers that are coming her way are pretty much saying, you tell us what you want to do, how much you want to be compensated for, and let us figure it out. Like, that's the type of energy she's being approached with now, right? That's some BDE, guys. I won't break that acronym down. Hopefully you know what it means, but she's being met with some suitors. Okay. Let me just say it that, like, people are stepping up to the plate, and she hasn't even made a decision yet, but just witnessing the power of her saying no. And every time her just getting more and more, like, invigorated and energized and unapologetically her. And her, like, when we first started, she had hints of imposter syndrome. Now she's like, I know who the fuck I am. I know what the fuck I've done, and I'm not settling for anything less. And she is one of the kindest, sweetest, most caring people, and she is incredible at what she does. So that's not coming from a place of her, like, tooting a horn that shouldn't be, like, tooted. Like, that sounded weird, but, like, she is her. Like, she is that chick. She is incredible. Like, there is no doubt to her resume and what she's accomplished. But now she's finally realizing it. And that's because every time she's chosen to say no, when there's been a temptation to say yes, because the universe is like, well, here's this, and here's this, and here's this. And they're great offers. Don't get me wrong. None of them have been, like, terrible. They've all been good. But she's just like, no, I think there's more for me. I think there's more for me. And every time she does that, these people coming to her table are just getting better and better. And again, like, those are some suitors, man. She is like, the things that are lining up for her are incredible. And again, we're not even at the end yet. And just seeing the power of her saying no reinforces with me how important that is. So, with wherever you're at in life right now, maybe you are thinking about a career change. Maybe you're trying to date. Maybe you're, I don't know, you're just going towards something bigger than you've ever had. Just remember the power of no. What you say no to is just as important, if not more important, than what you say yes to, especially if you've always been a yes person, especially if you're the person that just is quick to people please, quick to agree, quick to neglect your needs, quick to not listen to yourself or follow through on what's best for you, especially if you've been that person, no judgment, been there, still working through it. Say no, embrace the no. And there's going to be some fear with it. Okay. When you say no, you're going to be like, did I miss out? Did I, did something happen? Like, did I screw something up? That's a natural part when you're breaking through a pattern. Your pattern is always saying yes. Now you're starting to say no. Of course, there's going to be some self-doubt of wondering if you did the right thing or not. But if you just hold strong to the fact of, you know exactly what you want, you know what you deserve, and you're not willing to settle for anything less, my God, is that powerful. So powerful. And what that does in the process is every time you say no, your focus, your scope gets so laser focused and clear that when the job shows up, when the guy shows up, when the girl shows up, when the opportunity shows up, you won't even have to question it because you've done all the filtering that you've needed to do already. When that shows up, you're going to know it. You're going to feel it. And there won't be like, oh, should I? Shouldn't I? Is this right? Isn't that right? You're going to be like, yes. Can't guarantee what's going to happen on the other side of this, but I can guarantee you that I'm supposed to pursue this. I can guarantee you that I'm supposed to see where this can lead me. That's the feeling you want. No questions. No questions. An inner knowing. But the only way that can happen is if you get super crystal clear and hold strong within you on that exact focus. Saying no. It's not just what you think. Manifestation, attraction doesn't come from what we think. It comes from how we show up and the decisions we make and the actions we take, whether they're in alignment with that or not. So you could say all day long you want your dream job, but if you're still entertaining the ones that are like distracting you and taking you out of alignment just because they're there, yeah, there's a safety and security aspect out of that, but that's safety and security is a false sense of hope. Like we're like the only true safety and security we have are within ourselves. Anything outside of us that we think is safe and secure is that's just, it's false, because we can't control people, we can't control jobs, we can get cut, tossed, broken up with. People can die at any time. We have no control over that. So when you can just really get aligned within yourself as to what you want, and you hold that ground, and you just act from that space and really get your energy in alignment with that, that's when the universe can start to send you things. And that's when it will send you a bunch of things. But the one thing that's the right thing for you to pursue, no questions asked, it's going to feel like a real yes. And you're going to know this is the next step. So start today, guys. See what you can start saying no to. If saying no to you is really hard, I suggest starting with really low stake situations where you can start to say no to build up the skill set, because it is a skill. Start saying no to, social events that don't align with you. Maybe you don't want to drink anymore, so you say no to going to bars. You say no to going to nightclubs. Maybe staying up late doesn't align with you anymore. You say no to dinner past, 8 p.m. and you only say no to dinner dates around 6 p.m. Maybe, going for after work drinks doesn't align with you anymore. You say no to that. Like, start saying no in areas that aren't that really going to have a huge effect on your life, but you can start getting your reps in of saying no, because again, it is a skill set. And then once you've done that and you become more comfortable in that, then you can start saying no to bigger things. Maybe you start to say no when your boss asks you to take on an extra project that's outside of your realm. Maybe you say no when your coworker is trying to dump a bunch of their work on your plate. Maybe you say no when it comes to working after hours. Again, once you do that enough, then you can build up from there. But we all have a certain capacity based on our nervous system, and we have to work through that step by step. So if you're not used to saying no, start in the little areas, work your way up, and watch how that shifts your world, not only internally, but externally as well.